Hi guys, so for today's discussion, we have the topic break-even analysis. Now, to define what is break-even analysis, so this is performed to determine the value of a variable or a parameter of a project or alternative that makes two elements equal. Now, take note that there is no profit realized at the break-even point. Now, again, saan ulit ginagamit yung break-even point? As discussed earlier, si break-even point, siya ay ginagamit para malaman natin yung baseline kung ano yung amount of items na magiging standard natin for us to gain profit. Now, we have three variables na kailangan for the computations. First is the selling price, so usually denoted by P. We also have the fixed cost, denoted by F, and yung variable cost, which is denoted by V. Now, take note from our definition of costs na si fixed cost, so nakadepende siya sa time. So, regardless of how many units are produced, so wala siyang, hindi siya nagbabago. While si variable cost naman, so dependent siya sa number of units. Now, in this type of problems, usually si price and si variable cost share the same unit. So, parehas silang peso per piece, peso per unit of output, and so on. Now, we have two formula to get the break-even point. So, it can be in terms of units. So, kung gusto natin malaman ilan yung dapat output for us to break even, or pwede rin naman siyang i-compute based on the break-even on currency. So, it can be in dollars, it could be in peso. So, yun. So, you can use any of the two formulas here. Now, take note that yung break-even point is only derived by getting the equal values of your total revenues and your total costs. Now, for our first example, a manufacturer produces a product at a unit cost of 40 pesos and sells it at 60 pesos each. His total yearly fixed operating expenses is 320,000. So, what is his break-even point in terms of number of units to be produced per year? Now, take note na we have to be very careful with the time unit na binabanggit in the problem. Now, the main question here is his yearly break-even point. So, again, based on the definition of costs, so dun sa tatlo na binanggit, so yung fixed cost lang daw yung dependent kay time. So, since ang ating hinahanap is break-even point in yearly basis, dapat yung fixed cost should be in yearly basis din. Now, luckily, yung ating given na data dito is that yung fixed cost is yearly din. So, we don't need to do any manipulation with our data. Now, yung ating variable cost is also given na sinabi na ang unit cost daw is 40 pesos per unit. So, 40 yung ginagastos kada isang piraso ng product na minamanufacture, and it can be sold for 60 pesos. Now, take note that break-even problems should always have greater price or greater selling cost than the variable cost. Otherwise, hindi valid yung problem kasi magiging negative yung ating break-even point in units. Now, for our solution, so we have the given information again that your variable cost is 40 pesos per unit, selling price is 60 per unit, and yung fixed cost is 320,000 pesos per year. Now, we are looking for the break-even point in units in its annual form. Now, for our solution, yung break-even point, again, using the formula stated in the previous slide. So, we have F over P minus V. So, we are just substituting the values here. So, your F is 320,000 divided by 60 minus 40, it will give us 16,000 units per year. So, ibig sabihin, ang analysis lang dito is that if the manufacturer wants to gain profit or ayaw niyang malugi, he should target more than 16,000 units of output per year. Kasi if mas bumaba yung ating output by 16,000, so definitely losses yung makukuha ng business owner or no manufacturer. Okay? Again, if you want to gain profit, you should target a standard output of more than your break-even point in units. Now, if you want to know the break-even point in peso, we'll just multiply 16,000 by the unit price of 60 pesos per unit. So, ganun lang siya. Right? So, let's move on to the next problem. So, number 2, a plywood manufacturer produces a piece of plywood at a labor cost of 0.50 peso and material cost at 3 pesos per unit. So, the fixed charges on business are 50,000 pesos a month and the variable cost is 0.5 a piece. If one plywood sells for 6 pesos each, how many pieces must be produced each month for the manufacturer to break even? Now, again, ang time na hinahanap or yung time na kailangan, yung break-even point is in months. So, again, we look into the fixed cost kasi, again, siya lang naman yung dependent with time. So, since ang given value is 50,000 pesos a month, so we don't need to do any manipulation. So, again, if for example, ang hinahanap is break-even point in annual form or yearly form, we have to multiply your fixed cost by 12 to get your yearly fixed cost. Now, again, let's write the given information. For our given, labor cost is 0.5 per unit, material cost is 3 pesos per unit, fixed charges is 50,000 per month, variable cost is 0.5 per unit, and the selling price is 6 pesos per unit. So, we are looking for the break-even point again in units. Now, take note that we have multiple costs here, pero we can get the total cost based on the category of our cost. Now, labor cost, material cost, and variable cost are all the same. So, variable cost din silang lahat. Kasi labor and material, so these are costs you spend to produce the product. And it is dependent doon sa number ng units na pinoproduce natin. So, we are getting the total variable cost. So, that's 0.5 plus 3 plus 0.5. That will give us 40 pesos per unit for our variable cost. Then, for our break-even point, so we are just using the formula F over P minus V. So, substituting in the formula, so that's 50,000 pesos per month divided by your 6 pesos minus 4 pesos for the selling price and for the variable cost, which will give us a value of 25,000 units per month. So, again, kailangan matarget ni business owner na makapag-produce or makapagbenta ng 25,000 units per month or more para meron siyang profit. So, again, based on the 2 examples so far, so this is just direct substitution. Now, let's go to the next example. Now, a newly opened hamburger shop estimates to serve 200 customers a day with an average consumption of 150 pesos. So, the shop operates 25 days a month and the fixed cost is estimated at 25,000 pesos a month while labor and material cost is 120 pesos per customer served. Now, determine if the shop is profitable. If not, how many customers per day must be served? So, in this example, so we want to know if the current numbers will provide us profit and if not, how many customers per day must be served. Now, let's write the given information. First, ang daily customers nila, so ina-anticipate nila that they will be serving 200 customers per day. And each customer will be spending 150 pesos. And then, the operation is given as 25 days a month. The fixed cost is 25,000 a month. And labor and material cost is 120 pesos per customer. Now, we want to determine if the shop is profitable and how many customers should be served daily just to break even. Now, for our solution, we need to get the daily profit by getting the daily revenues and daily expenses. Now, daily revenues are all the yung mga pinagbentahan nila on the daily basis, and then yung daily expenses is kung magkano yung mga nagagastos nila on a daily basis. Now, revenues can be computed by multiplying the daily customers by their average consumption. So, kasi pinroject natin na 200 customers per day, and each customer will be paying roughly 150 pesos per customer. Now, the expenses can be computed by getting the sum of the daily variable cost and the daily fixed cost. Now, if you can recall, yung fixed cost ay binigay as per month. Pero, binigyan naman tayo ng daily operation. So, we can use those variables or those values para makuha yung daily fixed cost. Now, revenues is 200 customers multiplied by 150 pesos per customer, which will give us 30,000 pesos of revenue per day. Expenses are the daily fixed cost plus the daily variable cost, which is 25,000 divided by 25 days to get the daily fixed cost, plus yung ating daily variable cost, which is 120 pesos multiplied by 200 customers. So, getting the daily expense, total daily expense per customer served is 25,000 pesos. Now, dito pa lang makikita na natin that this setup is currently profitable because our revenues is greater than our expenses on the daily basis. Now, profit is again revenues minus expense. So, that's 30,000 minus 25,000, which will give us a daily profit of 5,000 pesos. Now, just to get the actual number, ilan ba dapat yung customers na ma-serve nila on the daily basis para magka-profit? So, para lang meron silang idea na ilan ba dapat talaga ang kailangan natin ma-hit na target on the daily basis. So, daily break-even point is again F over P minus V. So, take note that all values will be on the daily form. So, yung ating daily fixed cost is 1,000 pesos. So, yun yung 25,000 divided by 25. And then, variable cost is 120 kasi 120 pesos per customer siya. And then, your selling price or yung ating price, so that is 150 pesos per customer. So, yung ating break-even point in daily form, so that is 1,000 over 150 minus 120, which will give us 33.33 or rounded up to 34 customers per day. Now, take note that when it comes to break-even point in units, at ang naging sagot natin is fractional number or nakadecimal siya, we always round up. Kasi kapag ni-round down natin, so ginawa natin 33, so definitely, if you will be evaluating the profit of the value, so negative yung makuha yung sagot. Kasi at 33.33 yung eksaktong number, so yung profit is 0. So dapat lagi tayong nasa profitable side. So kaya 34 customers per day. So sa makatwid, if their projection is 200 customers per day, so definitely the hamburger shop will be profitable daily. Okay? Now, on to the next example. Example 4. A company produces an electronic timing switch that is used in consumer and commercial products. Now, the fixed cost is $73,000 per month and the variable cost is $83 per unit. The selling price is given by the equation $180 minus 0.02D. So, usually yung nakadikit doon sa number na yon, yung D is demand or in units siya. So, we want to know the optimal volume for this product and confirm that a profit occurs at this demand. And letter B, find the volumes at which break-even occurs. That is, what is the range of profitable demand. Now, take note that this example falls under case 2. So, kasi hindi na dependent yung mga values natin. Now, for our given information, fixed cost is $73,000 per month. And then, yung variable cost is $83 per unit. Your price is given by the equation 180 minus 0.02D. So, for our solution, we have to establish first a profit equation since yung ating price is given by the following equation. Now, we have to get the first derivative of the equation to get the optimal demand. So, medyo magka-calculus tayo ng konti dito, pero slight lang. Now, for our solution, profit, using the formula of your total revenues minus your total costs. So, that's your price multiplied by demand minus your fixed cost minus your variable cost multiplied by demand. Now, yung P is your price, D is our demand, F is your fixed cost, and V is your variable cost. Now, for our profit equation, so sinubstitute lang natin yung values. So, yung price equation natin is 180 minus 0.02D. So, you multiply that by another D based on sa ating previous formula. Minus the fixed cost of 73,000 minus the variable cost multiplied by demand. So, that's minus 83D. So, manipulating, that will be 180D minus 0.02D squared minus 73,000 minus 83D. So, rearranging the equation so that it follows the quadratic equation format. So, that will be negative 0.02D squared plus 97D minus 73,000. So, nag-simplify na din tayo. Now, to get the optimal volume that will give us the maximum profit, again, we have to derive yung ating profit equation with respect to the demand. So, magiging value is, that's negative 0.04D plus 97. Now, if you recall the concept of maxima minima, so we equate our first derivative by 0 to get the maximum value. So, we equate that to 0. So, we will be given negative 0.04D. So, equal na siya sa 97. So, nag-transpose lang. Now, to solve for D, so that is 2,425 units. So, ibig sabihin, that value will give you the maximum profit. Now, we have to verify if it really gives a profit based on the level of demand. So, substituting from our profit equation, so that's negative 0.02 multiplied by 2425 squared plus 97 times 2425 minus 73,000. So, yun lang yung ating simplified profit equation from our previous slide. Now, calculating, so it will give us a profit of 44,612.50. Now, this is the maximum profit the company can get. Now, we have to know the range of profitable demand. So, since hindi na siya straight line based on our second case, so we want to know ano ba yung range na magbibigay sa atin ng profit based on the number of units. Now, using the profit equation, we can determine the value of the roots. So, diba, yung quadratic equation will give you two values of x. So, in this case, two values of d. Now, just to explain further, so yung graph kasi ng ating break-even point under this case, it looks like this. So, we have the total revenue curve, and then we have the total cost line. So, yung ating dalawang point where the two lines intersected, so that shows yung break-even point. So, kung saan nag-intersect yung cost and yung total revenue, so yun yung break-even point natin. And take note na dalawa yung intersection point nila. So, at this point and at this point, so that's your first demand that will give you profit, and then yung second demand that will give you profit. Now, take note that the area under this curve is your profitable range. Now, ibig sabihin, from D1 to D2, so yun yung point na magkakaroon ka ng profit. So, take note na yung first value, yung lower value is always rounded up. And then, yung second value or yung naandun sa second or dun sa range natin, yung isang side ng range, So this is rounded down. So kasi any value outside of our profitable range will give us losses. So kaya yung D1, kapag nag-retain tayo ng actual value, so break-even point yon. Pero kapag dinrap natin yung decimal, for example, may decimal value, so loss na siya. Ganun din kay D2. Kapag tinaas natin yung value, sumobra tayo kahit isang piraso or kahit isang decimal point or decimal place. So, yung ating magiging profit will be negative na. Okay? Now, from our profit equation, so negative 0.02 d squared plus 97d minus 73,000 using the quadratic equation in your calculator. So, you can punch that in the equation mode of your calculators. Magkakaroon tayo ng dalawang d or usually x sa calculator natin. So, usually, yung unang nire-return niyang value is yung higher. So, yung second D, yung ating unang isusulat as the lower value. So, yung D1 is 931.47 or 932 units kasi nag-round up tayo. And then, yung second demand is 3,918.53. So, i-round down natin siya or i-drop lang natin yung decimal points. So, these values determines the range of profitable demand. So, dapat daw hindi ka bumaba ng 932 at di ka rin dapat tumaas ng 3,980. Now, kung babalikan natin yung sagot kanina, yung D from the maxima minima application, 2425, diba? So, nasa gitna siya ng 932 and 3918. So, yan yung ating final answer. Now, just a bonus. So, shortcut ito. So, para hindi nyo nagawin yung mga derivation and just to get the the optimal demand. So, from the price equation, from the example, so yung 180 minus 0.02D, now take note na applicable lang itong shortcut na ito sa ganitong format. If your price is given as the equation with respect to D. So, we assign 180 as A and we assign negative 0.02 as B. So, magiging yung price natin will be A minus BD na siya. So, na yung price equation. Now, from our profit equation, so you can substitute the values again to establish the profit equation kasi we are deriving the shortcut formula here. So, profit is A minus BD multiplied by D minus F minus VD. So, ito lang yung same na profit equation na ginamit natin kanina. So, nagbago lang yung price kasi nag-assign tayo ng variables. So, that will be AD minus BD squared minus F minus VD. Again, manipulating, that will be negative BD squared plus A minus V times D minus F. And then, again, getting the first derivative of the profit equation, that will give us negative 2BD plus A minus V na lang. Now, A minus V is equal to 2BD. So, nagmamanipulate lang tayo kasi we want to determine the formula for D. So, ang D natin is therefore A minus V over 2B. Now, to substitute, so, that's 180 minus 83 over 2 times 0.02 based on our price equation kanina. This will also give us 2,425 units, which is the same as the answer we had from the previous slides. So, kumbaga, kung yung price equation natin follows the same format as in this example, we can just use the formula for D na A minus V over 2B. So, wala tayong kailangan i-derive to get the optimal demand that will maximize profit. However, if you want to know the profitable range, we still need to get the quadratic equation using the formula. Okay? So that ends our discussion for the break-even point, case 1 and case 2. And if you have further questions, so you can comment below or you can contact me through our Blackboard Learn accounts. So, bye!